and writer focusing on mental and spiritual health. She draws on her experience as a hospice and hospital chaplain, and her training's been in a range of complementary healing modalities, and in her own business with Death and Awakening. She's got a background in corporate advertising. She's been with Time Warner. She's uniquely equipped to address mental, emotional, and spiritual challenges. Her business is called Learning to Live, so you can find her on learningtolive.org. And she has some books out there if you want to explore purchasing them or talking to her afterwards. And the book is called Everyday Awakening. With that, Catherine Duncan.
Thank you for having me here today with all of you. I'm going to talk about what does it mean to live fully. We are all choosing every moment to open, to grow, to feel vibrantly alive, or we're subconsciously choosing not to. It's a choice to grow your strength and resiliency and feel love and peace and joy. And I'm going to talk today about 3 life-changing experiences that I've gone through that have led to 5 practices that I wrote my book, Everyday Awakening, that just came out nationwide last week. 5 practices, and I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes, and then I'd like to share with you a few of my favorite a breath exercise, a self-soothing exercise to just bring you into your body and move us out of our mind. So, and if we have hopefully a few minutes to questions at the end. So that said, I'm going to dive right in. So yeah, life is precious. We choose how we live every day, every moment. So the 3 life-changing experiences that I lived through, the first one was when I was 10 years old, turning 11 years old. I was diagnosed suddenly with a very rare childhood cancer. My parents were told that I had a 20% chance to live. This was back in the 70s, and interestingly, they had chaplains, they had counselors back then. No one talked to me. My mother, very more religious, would say, you're gonna be fine, but there was no sense of reality, and I started very intensive treatments, chemotherapy, radiation, surgeries, and back then they did a lot of amputations, and it was very grim. This drug that year came in from Turkey that was randomly being given to patients, and my father met the doctors and demanded they give me that drug. That drug is now standard treatment. The survival rate now is 80% for what I had. So it was really grim. It was a lot, and I could feel that all of a sudden, here I was 11 years old, I could feel that I was on the edge of life. I was looking over the cliff. I could feel that I was between life and death. And all of a sudden, not long after, all of a sudden I was going through all this feeling came through my body. I wanted to live. I wanted to live. And out of nowhere, I started to pray. Faith meant nothing to me. We're a Lutheran background. We'd occasionally go to church. Faith had meant absolutely nothing. And I just started to pray, could I live to be 20? I was just pleading, could I live to be 20? I thought if I lived to be 20, I would see the world. And I prayed this, I told no one, I kept praying it, and not long after, all of a sudden this peace just flooded my body. It was like, came through my body, and it was just all of a sudden a knowing that I was gonna live, that I wasn't alone. It was so comforting. And again, I continued to tell no one, but it was so comforting to me. And it was a learning at a very young age. I grew up very quickly at 11, 12 years old that I wasn't alone. There was more to this universe. And also learning to be in the moment. If I didn't think about going next week to have treatment and chemotherapy, I was okay. It was really profound when I look back as an adult now, how I learned how to just be here now as 11, 12-year-old. So fast forward, very grateful. I got through all those treatments for a few years. A teenager, I started voraciously reading here as a teenager, I was reading Hermann Hesse, Who is Man, Existentialism and Human Motion. I was searching, like, why am I alive? I wasn't ready to do my work, but I was just searching for what does it mean to be alive. Went through high school, college, my family, I have a lot of siblings. Everyone is in the business world. So of course I went into the business world. I went into advertising. Fast forward, I was with Time Magazine regionally here, and it was great, and it was glamorous, and it was fun, and I made all kinds of money, but I was getting this nudging in me like, this isn't it. This isn't what I'm called to do. And it was 2000, year 2000, and I was on a corporate incentive trip, top 10 salespeople for Time Magazine, and we were in Costa Rica, and this is the second life experience. We were in Costa Rica, and I had what we'd say a near-death experience. We were whitewater rafting. It was really treacherous waters. Level waters were level 3, but level 4 because of rains. You know, helmet, vest, everything. All of us on a raft. There were many rafts. The head, if you can even believe this, of our raft was the head of the Costa Rica Olympic team. Crazy. So all the rafts were going around some of these most treacherous rapids, not our raft. And we went down this really treacherous rapid. Next thing you know, I'm deep underwater. And it was pitch black, I was curled up, and I was just like, this is it. I'm gonna die. And all of a sudden I had this image of my children. I have a couple children. I had this image of my childhood and what I went through. I'm like, this is it, I'm gonna die now. And this white light circled around my body, and this voice out of nowhere said, living or dying is fine. And this peace came through my body. And it was, again, a knowing, like, I was going to be okay, but I didn't know if I was going to live or die, but I just, I let go. I let go, and next thing you know, I came out from under rapid. I was pulled by my life vest onto a boat. I was in shock. I couldn't talk. We had to keep going down the river because we were in such a remote area of Costa Rica. And so got through that, didn't tell anyone what happened, and was it two days later, we're in a taxi, came home. I'm in a taxi driving to my home in South Minneapolis, not far from here. And I called my mother to tell her I was home. And my mother never shared a dream in her life. And she's like, Catherine, I dreamed that I slipped into a river and I almost drowned. And then I woke up. And it was the day that happened to me. And it was a turning point in my life because I'm like, I'm done. Even though I had my entire year, this is January, February, on the books for the whole year, I was like, I'm done. And I gave my notice and I quit this job. And I'm like, I need to listen, like, where am I being called? It was a really big decision to leave. And I quit, and my husband had a startup small internet company. I joined his company, which was awful. It was just going from Time Magazine to this warehouse with these guys. But I was just like praying, journaling, listening, like, where am I being called? And then a girlfriend randomly, late at night, have you ever thought of studying theology? I mean, here I've been reading books on life, meaning, purpose, spirituality since a teenager. And I never thought of it. And she said, and that's St. Catherine's. So I got all this information, but when I got the materials from St. Catherine, my body started physically shaking. It was like, and it was just a knowing, this is it, this is the path. And I enrolled and I got in. I'll just tell you, I went out to tell my parents soon before I was gonna start graduate school. My father, this consummate businessman, started screaming at the table, screaming, hitting the table, geology, and I'm like, no, theology. He was just like, he couldn't understand. And my father's been gone for many years. He was my biggest supporter before he died. But anyway, it was just the first class graduate theology school. I was like, this is what I've been looking for. It was amazing. So then fast forward, the third life-changing experience. My husband, 8 years ago, completely healthy, big athlete, was running one of the lakes, and then went to my brother's house, collapsed, went to the hospital. He ended up flatlining. They were trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening with his heart. They had to put a temporary pacemaker in on the side of his neck to keep him alive. And he ended up being in the ICU for 10 days. He was diagnosed 10 days later with really rare heart condition called cardiac sarcoidosis. I'm happy to say he's doing well. Hopefully, he can live a long life. He's still on high levels of immune suppressant drugs, but it was really an awakening of, here I was a chaplain. I became a chaplain. So I became a chaplain. I was working with people at end of life, and then with my husband, it just cracked me open, like a deeper level of understanding what does it mean to be alive and love and what's important in life. So those are the 3 life-changing experiences that led me to the 5 practices of what does it mean to be alive on this earth. And here are the 5 practices. Come back to the present moment, connect with something greater, grow your trust, embody love, and hold openness. And I'd like to just say a few words about each practice. So come back to the present moment. I'm sure everyone in this room has heard this. Be here now. It's about living in the present moment. When, the society, our culture, it's about being in our mind and achieving and all that. But it's like when we're in our mind, we're in the past, we're in the future, we're not here in this moment. So, how do you come back to just now, to just this moment? When we're present in just this moment is when we can feel that aliveness and that peace, the joy. It's in the moment. It's not found in our mind. And that was something I learned as an 11, 12-year-old when I just was present. I was okay. Life was okay. So when I talk about present moment, how do you do it? And my book has 42 exercises. How do you, for example, come into the present moment? I'm guessing everyone in this room understands mindfulness. Maybe you practice mindfulness. And I want to say mindfulness. I love Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's about being present here now in just this moment. So, quick example. This morning, when everyone got up, I don't know if you drink coffee, tea. Let's say you make coffee, you pour yourself a cup of coffee, and if you have young kids, I know this can be challenging, but you pour yourself a cup of coffee, and you're just present, holding the cup of coffee for a minute or 2. You hold the cup of coffee, you feel the heat, you smell the aroma, you take a sip. You don't have your TV, radio, phone. There's so many distractions. You're just fully present. Drinking coffee for a minute or 2, maybe you have a window, you look out the window. That's an example of practicing mindfulness. Powerful. Another example, let's say lunch, you homework, wherever you are. Let's say you're at home, you have a turkey sandwich. You're just present again. Mindfully present for a minute or 2 or 3, if you can for 5 minutes. Again, you don't have your phone, a laptop, radio, TV, all the distractions, and you hold the sandwich, you feel the bread, you smell it, you take a bite, you're like, and you're just present eating a sandwich for a few minutes. And you can also do it during the day. You get up to go to the bathroom, wherever you are, and maybe you don't have very far to walk, but you're feeling your body, you're just in your body, feeling your legs being supported by the ground, feeling the strength in your body. That's an example of practicing mindfulness. And our minds are so powerful. So what I do want to share with you, research, practicing mindfulness. When you do this, it increases your prefrontal cortex. It increases your ability, your executive functionings of your brain. It is so healthy, physically, physiologically, emotionally, spiritually. I also want to share, many of you may know this, our minds are historically wired to the negative. It's called negativity bias. You can Google it. And from prehistoric times, we've vetted, like, how are we safe? How do we live? So just knowing that our minds are historically geared to the negative, how do you grow the good? How do you grow the positive? There's a term I find fascinating, and I'm certified in different neuroplasticity models, neuroplasticity. What we think, what we feel, our environment is shaping our brain all day long. So again, what are you focusing on? And we can just having moments of presence, moments of mindfulness. So even right now, another quick example, breathing in right now. Can you feel the coolness of the air coming in over your nostrils? And the warmth as you breathe out. Again, brings you into the present moment. Or can you feel when you breathe in your lower belly, how it naturally expands on the in-breath and recedes on the out-breath? Again, examples of present moment. And one more, feeling the energy. Like right now, can you feel the energy moving in your hands? Feel your fingers, feel your hands. When we do that, we can't think at the same time. It brings us into our body. And it's in our body, it's here in this moment where we can feel that love, that joy, that peace that I think that we're all wanting. So the second practice, connect with something greater, is something, again, I learned at a very young age. It's been with me to this day. I am an ordained minister with the United Church of Christ. For me, I use the language God, divine, universe. I'm very liberal after walking with thousands of people. Chaplaincy, my private practice, I want to just say, I think language is limiting. Everyone in this room, someone might use the word God, or energy, or true nature, or higher power, or infinite field of possibility. I mean, I want to just invite everyone to be open to what is that for you, and honor that. I want to just say a couple words between the words religion and spirituality. Religion, everything I studied in theology, divinity school, everything, I think it's more man-made doctrine, dogma, how you practice. There's more, this is the way we practice our particular faith tradition. I think spirituality, I really like the word spirituality, what gives you meaning? And focusing on what gives you meaning, that's what life's about. So practicing, connecting with something greater, just a quick comment I'll share, something I do every day, and I'll share some other practices, but I tune in and I just say, I am. I ground myself, I stand, I breathe, I come into my body, I feel the energy moving in my body, and then I just say, I am, or I am presence. And I connect with that universal energy, the oneness. I can feel it vibrating through my body. We are all connected. We are all one. And I have found that practice very helpful. When I say that I am presence, can I feel that energy moving? Can you feel the energy moving in your body? And just be open to what that is for everyone here in this room. And honoring the differences. I'll share with you in graduate school. I got a master's in theology and divinity. When I learned the term, maybe some of you know this, religious pluralism. When I learned this in graduate school, I was like, yes, this makes sense to me. Religious pluralism, that there's so many different words. Is it God? Is it Allah? Is it Brahman? Is it, all the different words there are for the divine or whatever this is. 1 out of 4 people in the world are Christian. So what are the words people use? And using all these different words, religious pluralism, is they all come to one main endpoint. So when I learned that in school, I was like, thank you. That resonates with me. I just invite everyone to be open. What is that for you? And don't even worry about the language in my private practice. People are like, I don't know what to call it, or they grew up Catholic, they grew up this, and so they just walked away from everything. Can you just be open to what that feels in your body? And open to what does that mean for you? So the next practice that I learned, grow your trust. And when I talk about grow your trust, there's hundreds of books out there that say trust, 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 which is fabulous. How do you do it? So my editor coach, when I was writing my book, she's like, let's really dig in deep and define what is trust. So here's what I think trust is. Trust is acceptance, coming into just this moment, which just that takes some skill, right? Practice to get out of our busy, fast chattering ego mind, to come into our body, to come in this moment. And when you can come into just this moment, can you accepting the moment for what it is? It's not always easy. Surrendering, accepting. Life is messy. There's lots of emotions, good, bad. But can you accept all that is just here and now in this moment? I think when you can just be in the moment, accepting what is, then you can listen. So I'm defining trusting as accepting and deep listening. Listening to the guidance we get. Every one of us, we all get guidance. We're all connected, there's a universal energy, we all get guidance, but we have to be able to be silent, be still, be present, to hear that guidance. And it's a practice. To be able to just hear deeply, hear, where am I being called? I mean, I had that example as I was saying when I came back from Costa Rica. I just had this nudging, like, this is not my path. This is not it. And luckily, my husband was supportive of me walking away from a corporate career, but I just felt in my being, this is not where I'm being called. But I had to create silence, stillness, to hear. And to this day, that's how I get my guidance, listening. And I also want to share with listening, I'm guessing some of you in this room have heard the terms clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient. We get information many different ways. So when I say clairaudience, I'll just tell you quickly, when I was a chaplain at Hennepin Healthcare, this is before I was a chaplain at Fairview Hospice, I did a lot of night shifts and then overnight shifts. I lived in South Minneapolis at the time. They didn't have a room for us at the hospital. I would be asleep. My pager for Hennepin HCMC would be next to me. The helicopter would go over our house, my pager would go off, and I would have 15, 20 minutes to arrive, and I was always in the emergency room, stab room. It was rough. And it was it was a privilege to do that work, and it was very soul-shaping and sacred, very sacred. So let's say I would be called in, it'd be 2, 3 in the morning, and I'd be done, and then I was on till, 8 a.m., and I would go to my car to go home, and I'd be like, okay, I'm kind of ready. It was a lot to just go home for the night, and I would hear, you're done, or I would hear, you have one more call. There's a lot of guidance we can get. So that's auditory. I'll tell you, clairvoyance is seeing, and I'll just say I see a lot. When I was with hundreds of people as they left their body, I could see, the energy around them, their spirit leaving their body. It was so sacred. It was birthing them to the other side. And then many people within days to a week, many people came back to see me in my bedroom in the middle of the night. They would be right there, their spirit like, vroom, and they'd be right there, and they'd just like nodding their head, thanking me, and then they'd be gone. It's a gift to see, and I'd actually got to a point where I had to put up boundaries. I'm like, you cannot, at night I'd go to sleep and be like, you cannot come within 20 feet of me. I had to sleep. So, there's just another way of getting information. Clairsentient is another, a feeling sense. All of us, everyone in this room has ability to sense in different ways and experience life in different ways if you're open, if you're present. And trust is a verb. So, and I like that, listening to that still small voice. It's there, it's within each of us. Whatever language you want to use, it's there. That guidance, that knowing, that nudging, it's there. I'll share with you my book that just came out nationwide last week. 10 years ago, I saw my book. I saw it. I saw that I was going to write a book, and I told my kids and my husband, I'm going to write a book. And they're like, great. And then in 2020, in the pandemic, I got this nudging, this pushing, like start. And I kind of started, luckily had been practicing as a blog writer, so that helped. But I started seeing the chapters, and it was like I had to write the book. It just came through me. So trust is a verb, and listening to that still small voice. And I love this line. Are you letting, your life live you, or are you living your life? Are we listening within? What are you choosing? How are you living your life? Embodying love. the fourth practice, I'll tell you the number one theme I heard with hundreds of people at end of life was love. It's all that mattered. It's all they wanted. Love of their family and those closest to them. I think the reason we're here on this earth is to learn to love. And I think what we take with us when we die is our ability to love. And it's a practice. It's a practice, and it starts with loving ourselves. I don't know if any of you know, I'm a huge reader, and one of my favorite authors, Louise Hay, she passed away a few years ago in her 90s, but a distillation of all of her books, is just love, and it starts with you. How do you love yourself? And I'm wondering in this room, have many of you even thought about how do you love yourself? What does that look like? A takeaway that I invite you is, how do you love yourself? And choosing to grow that love. And in my book, I'll tell you, in my 30s, I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about emotions. We didn't express emotions. And in my 30s, I'm like, I want to feel more. So I have a meditation that actually is in my book about growing love, and it's about seeing your heart and seeing your heart expand. And I did that meditation every single day for a month. And I'll tell you, at the end of the month, all of a sudden I was like, I'm like, oh, right, I've been doing this meditation every day. You know, it's just our mind, body, spirit. They're all connected. So if it's through a breathing and exercise, breathing in love, feeling your heart, which we're going to do in a minute. Mirror work, I don't know if any of you do mirror work, really powerful. I've done that. You know, you look in the mirror, and you say 3 sentences: I love you, I really love you, I really love you, your name. And when you do mirror work like that, at first, and I've shared this with many people, you might look in the mirror and be like, well, I'm not really liking my hair, or there could be objections. That's your subconscious, it's okay. But it's just, there's many different ways to grow that love, and mirror work is really powerful. And I want to say, as far as self-compassion, Kristen Neff, maybe some of you heard of her. She's one of the leaders in the US. She has a book called Self-Compassion. I like how she defines self-compassion. She defines it 3 ways. Are you kind to yourself? Common humanity and mindfulness. Self-kindness. How do you talk to yourself? When every one of us, when we have negative critical thoughts, it releases cortisol hormones in our body. So even when you catch that critical thought, can you catch it? Oh, there I went. Wow, I said something so negative. Self-awareness, key. And reframe it. No, I'm strong, I'm resilient. I mean, it's just catching that negative thought loop and reframing it. Huge. Common humanity, what Kristen Neff talks about is we all make mistakes. We're vulnerable. Things happen. And when that happens, can you just accept yourself, love yourself, get the support, not be isolated? And then mindfulness, holding all of life, the good, the bad, not going to extremes, really important. One other person that's big in this field, I just want to name, you may have heard of her, Kelly McGonigal. She's on staff at Stanford. She has amazing research that when you love yourself, you have a stronger immune system, you have better social connections, you live longer. Amazing. So just to invite you, how do you care and love for yourself? And it starts with each one of us, how we do this. And then the last practice is hold openness. And how do you hold life? Life is messy. A lot happens in life. I sure know, what I've lived through, I've lost 5 family members, I've lived through a lot, and already, but yet it's like, how do you keep living? How do you keep choosing? Going with the flow, going with the river versus fighting it. I'll share with you my mother-in-law. She was a big person in my life. This is almost 20 years ago, and she was a big person steering me on my path. She was suddenly diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. There was nothing they could do. My father-in-law asked me if I would be with her through all the medical appointments. She was open to healers. We did all of this, and she lived a year, and I was with her up until she took her last breath. But I remember I took her to this really powerful healer in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Maybe you've heard of him, Michael Isaacson. And she saw Michael, and Michael said, are you going with the river, or are you going upstream? And she said, I'm going with the river. And she went with the flow, and there was her world that was defined externally dropped away. She just the conversations, the richness, the aliveness coming through her. She started to just have a glow about her up until she died. It was just amazing to witness, to walk with her. And she was a big teacher on my path. And that was another, like, I watched the chaplains come in from Fairview Hospice. And I'm like, wow, these people are amazing. And it was a teacher on learning how to go with life, go with the flow, and it's a choice. How do you go with the flow? So that said, I would love to just introduce you guys to just a couple favorite exercises. These are things I do every day to just, move out of our mind into our body. And the first exercise this is just a 1-minute breath exercise. It's really simple. I love it though, it's my favorite. There's so many ways to teach breathing, as probably everyone in this room knows. This is just, and if you're willing to go with me and try this, breathing in peace. Let's just breathe in peaceful energy coming through our body, breathing out stress. So if you're willing to join me, I invite you, those willing to join me, close your eyes and we'll begin. Feel the weight of your body being supported by the chair, letting your body just start to soften and relax, focusing now on your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Notice if you're holding any tension or tightness in your body, and just breathe into that area for a moment. And on your breath in now, I invite you to just see some peaceful energy at the top of your head, coming in through your head, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, your knees, breathing out any stress, any unrest, just letting it go. It can even look like gray smoke leaving your body. So breathing in peace, flooding through your whole body, breathing out any stress, any unrest. If your mind wanders, it's okay. Just come back. So we'll start for 1 minute, just breathing in peace, breathing out any stress, and we'll begin. So that was 1 minute. Breathing in peace, breathing out stress. Some of you may have liked it, some maybe not. It's okay. Another one I love is breathing in love. I see love and light flooding my body, breathing out any fear, any unrest. I have found that this breath exercise helpful for many people to be able to just actually feel energy coming through them. So I invite you to try it, if it speaks to you or not, and I'll say, and I would love to lead you in just a short meditation when we do breathing. A minute, actually when we get up to about 5 minutes, maybe many of you know this, Dr. Herbert Benson, relaxation response from the 70s from Harvard, amazing. 5 minutes of doing some breathing, meditation, physiologically changes our body. It lowers our blood pressure, our heart rate, our cortisol level. It is so healthy for you. And it just brings you back into your body. So I'd love, because we have a little more time, I would love to lead you in a very short meditation, a very short guided meditation to your heart, and see how this feels. It's about 5 minutes, and we're just going to come in and look at our heart. So we will begin. Those willing to join me. So I just invite you again, sit comfortably, feel the weight of your body against the chair, letting your body start to soften and relax, focusing on your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your mind and body to relax, feeling peace come through your body. And if thoughts come into your mind, just let them pass and come back to your breath, your in-breath, your out-breath. You are relaxed. Now imagine yourself in a beautiful meadow surrounded by wildflowers. You can hear birds a little way off, and you know that you are completely safe. You can feel the warmth of the sun on your face and body. As you gently lay down on the soft grass, feel the support of the earth and the warmth of the sun. You are comfortable, relaxed, and safe. The earth is supporting your body. Now visualize a golden light above your head. See it enter the top of your head, flowing down through your head, your neck, your shoulders, your chest. So it moves down through your whole body, your stomach, your abdomen, legs, knees, and down through your feet and out. This light is cleansing and healing your body. And any tension, stress you may be holding is being released. And this light is healing and bathing your body as it moves through you. Bring to mind now someone who's very easy for you to love. It could be a child, a partner, grandparent, friend, whoever this being is. Hold them now in your heart. Allow yourself to feel warmth and love towards them. Notice how this feels in your body and in your heart. Breathing in love and breathing out love. Feel love expanding throughout your body and out. You are at peace. Rest in this peace and love for the next few minutes. And now bring your awareness back to the present moment. Feel the weight of your body being supported by the chair, the pew. Feeling your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Bring yourself back slowly and comfortably. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So that right just now was 5 minutes. And some of you may have liked it and some not. It's okay. Just notice. How did that feel? That 5 minutes. Do you feel? I'd love to hear. Hopefully we'll have just a few minutes to talk in a minute. So that was a breath exercise. So since we have just a few more minutes, I have many exercises in my book because I'm all about sharing content, but it's like, how do you do it? How do you come into your body? How do you feel your heart? How do you feel open? There's ways to do this, to bring you into this moment. I want to share 2 more really quick things. I'm certified by Master Lin, Spring Forest Qigong, He's amazing. And body movements, somatic, moving our body. And Master Lin and my trainings with him and his people, he'll say if there's no other body movement, practice bouncing. So it's just alivening, wakening up your body. Would you guys be willing to try bouncing with me for a minute? For those of you willing, so I invite you to stand up. And bouncing, what we're gonna do, you stand with your legs hip-width distance apart, bend your knees gently, put your arms at your side, put a smile on your face, release oxytocin, visualize the central sun in your heart, and we're just gonna start gently bouncing from our knees down. This is bouncing. What is it doing? It's waking up your energy, it's for alignment, attuning your body, opening up your chakras. Then you can put your hands up like this to get your whole body, just let your hands dangle. Love to hear what people think, how it feels. So this is called bouncing. All right, you can put your hands back down. Can we just do one more? Another one is shaking. Same thing, legs bent, arms at your side. So let's say you had an experience in the morning was really challenging, or someone was upset and you're upset. Just shaking. You start shaking your arms, your torso, your legs. I just think, shake off that energy. I don't need to hold that energy. Shake it off. Shake, shake, shake. This is called shaking. I think it feels pretty amazing. I just like letting go of energy you don't need. All right, so that was shaking. All right, everyone can sit down. Thanks for joining me. So there's so many exercises. I have exercises with our voice, toning. I work with energy. How much energy are you taking in or not? There's just so many different things. The last thing I'll just share, because I know we're getting close to our time, is it's self-soothing. I don't know if people do this. One of my favorite, you put your hands on your chest area. I've been doing this for many years. And you just breathe. Our bodies respond to physical touch. And just let your body soften and relax and feel the warmth of your hands. If you believe in something beyond, you could say, give me peace, or just may I be at peace. And just breathe. So this is called a self-soothing exercise. You can put your hands here. You can also put your hands on your third and fourth chakra. I find it so comforting. I do this a lot at night when I go to bed. I'm like, here I am. Or in the middle of the day, if you're stressed, or just to take a break and just breathe. And you could add in, last little tidbit exercise I'll share is a gratitude practice. I know there's a lot out there on gratitude. But here's how I practice gratitude every single morning of my life. It's a habit. I wake up in the morning, alarm goes off, or I just wake up. And I just have a few minutes in bed where I'm just thankful. I think about, I have a home, family, friends, my life. I have so much to be grateful for. I think about it. But then I feel it. I feel that energy. Love, gratitude are the highest vibrational energies you can feel. And I feel it coursing through my body. And it sets the tone for my entire day. And you could do that in the morning. You could do it midday. I like to do it in the morning because it really sets the tone for my day. So, let's see here. What are you choosing? I would just say every one of us. And life can be so hard and messy, I know. But what are you choosing? How are you choosing to live today? And it's a choice we're all making all day long, how we're living our life. And it's possible to feel that here I am, and that just immense deep peace that's unnameable. It's possible to feel that right now, today. It is. So All right, I think we have just a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, comments, what'd you like? Do you have exercises you like to just help you come into your body, to your heart, your soul? Love to hear. Yeah, Reuben.
You know, I think three major faiths that I try to practice. The first one was Native American, that's what was trained in first. The second one was Hindu. And the third one is Ifa, which is a very ancient religion from Africa. And the funny thing is, I do all three. Sometimes I get confused because I don't know which one I'm actually working on. But one thing I don't do is share. It doesn't seem to work very well to share a different one when I'm doing Hinduism, for example, because people get confused. So I just keep it to myself. But the fact is, I'm not really, attached to any one of them, because then you get into the religion thing, and what I appreciate is the spirituality. And I just realized that a lot of these are just cultural expressions. In India, they had Hinduism, that's their cultural expression. In Africa, they have their Ifa, and Christians have Christianity, whatever. So I don't deny anybody. But it can get a little confusing, but the thing is I don't try to tell one about the other, because I think it doesn't seem to work very well. So I guess that's all I have to share. But it can feel a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah. And can there be an openness, just an openness to all of it? And what you might find, I find, from all the people I've worked with and colleagues, I've worked with several dear friends that are Buddhist, we say the same thing, but we use kind of different language. So just, I think, having an open mind and feeling where's the resonance, yeah. Yeah. But the practice often are so similar. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Any other comments? We have 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah.
You mentioned that you were present at least a few hundred times as people were transitioning.
Yep.
What did you experience? What is there at that moment? Is there anything that you could share with us?
Take it with a grain of salt. Just me telling you this, but here's what I think. Death is not an end. We go on. I have not a doubt. Our spirit goes on. I think we're a spirit and a body for a short time, and then when we die, we go on. It's not an end. I felt it physically. I saw people come back. Now, do I go farther, like, what happens exactly? Don't have all those answers. But death is not an end. This is what I experienced with many people at the very end of life. There was all of a sudden, everything dropped away, and they're like, oh, this is life. And then, poof, then they died. So it's like, and that was honestly the impetus of writing my book. You could check it out in the other room. But what does it mean to be alive now? Like, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till you're about to die. You don't have to wait till a chronic illness. You don't have to wait till some grief, tragedy. We all go through a lot in life. You can experience it now if you choose. It's a choice. Yeah. Great question. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to be here afterwards. Stop over, and if you want to check out my book, happy to give you a discount on my book too, whatever. And here to answer any questions. So thank you so much. Blessings.
Thank you, Catherine Duncan. And she will be back to lead our closing circle. But now it's time to dig deep, because Lake Harriet Spiritual Community is an independent organization. We're totally dependent on your donations. So in addition to digging deep today, you can also go online on our website, and you can become a regular sustaining donor on the website. Having income really helps us on a regular basis sustain any highs and lows. So think about doing that as well. And the ushers are going to come forward with the baskets.
Forward motion, backward violins begin to play. As the world goes by, all I know is I wanna be wide awake. Seekers of status quo, I say let 'em go, let 'em just fall away. 'Cause doubt, for all of its fury, cannot hold a flame to any soul that cries. All I know is I wanna be wide awake, in the drama that is us. Some play men consumed by lust, and some play prim in strings of pearls, and some play crazy artist girls. But it's all just costumes on parade.
Okay, if you'll join me in blessing this beautiful green and these offerings, God's perfect love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Oh. Okay, let's circle up.
How we take a deep breath in, breathing out as we all are together, feeling the oneness, how we're all connected now. How about if we go around, and if you want to, you can participate or not, but just say a word or a couple words of what's on your heart in the moment, and then I'll end with just a very short blessing. If you want to start.
Being home. Lunch. Kindness. Warmth. Connection. Thank you. Accept. Good.
Choose now.
May you receive this blessing. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you be healed. And may you be a source of healing in this world. Blessings. Thank you. Oh, good. Yay.